We all have an image that we want people to see us as, especially if we're in a position of leadership. And today I'm going to talk about how that image or that reputation can be kind of messed up, and not the message that we intend to send is what's being received. Just real quick, I just want to review the communication process. You have the sender, they transmit a message, and then the receiver obtains that message, decodes it, makes sense of it. And the point that I want to make with this is that of the message being received, only 90 or up to 93%, only 7% of what's being understood comes from our verbal expressions. The other 93% comes from our eye contact, our facial gestures, our volume, pitch, rate, right? All these things make up the other 93% of how we understand the communication. For example, if I said hey versus hey, right? Changes the entire message. Anyways, with that said, speaking of leadership, Niccolo Machiavelli wrote a book, and he's the first one to pose the question of, is it better to be feared or loved? Spoiler alert, he recommends both, that there should be a good little balance between being both feared and loved if you want to be an effective leader. Michael Scott, on the other hand, believes that he wants his employees to fear how much they love him. Anyways, sorry, I had to add that. So today we're going to talk about communicating our image. Now, if the image we think that we have, or the image that we want our employees to have, is of us being a tough but fair boss, right? But our employees actually see us as more of just a loud jerk, or maybe even just an incompetent goof who's out of touch with what's really going on, then it's because there's something that we are communicating. Chances are good that it's not just like one untoward act, but a series of nonverbals, or hopefully nothing verbal, but nonverbals that's messing up that image. For example, when I was in college, I remember going to an ultimate frisbee intramural game to support a roommate of mine, and there's a blanket with a few girls sitting on it. And so anyways, my roommate and I, we just kind of started chatting them up, and anyways, one of the girls on the blanket and me, we kind of just went off into our own little conversation. And keep in mind, guys, I have never ever been under the impression that just because a guy and a girl are even deeply engaged in a conversation, that means it's an automatic match made in heaven, right? But my roommate, he just kept nudging me. He's like, dude, you should ask her out. And I was just like, no, I mean, she's cool, but nah. And but he just kept on and on. I mean, in all honesty, she was really probably more his speed, but anyways, then finally he just kind of just leans over and he's like, dude, she wants you to ask her out. Hey, we're going to race go-karts on Friday. There's a group of us, it'll be a lot of fun. Bring her. And I thought, all right, she's cute enough. So I told her, like, hey, we're going to go race go-karts on Friday. You ought to come with me as my date. And anyways, you could tell that she had been waiting for this moment, and she already had a canned response. And she just said, okay, is this something I can bring my boyfriend to? And I said, no, you can't bring your boyfriend. It'll just be you and me, and my friends. And then I waited. I made eye contact, and I was waiting for her to say something, but it just got really kind of awkward. I mean, for her. For me, I found it hilarious. and so finally I just pick you up at 6 o'clock. And anyways, then our conversations kind of fizzled. Chatted a little bit more with her other roommates, and we found somebody else. And then anyways, the game was finally over. But the point in me sharing this is that she was definitely sending out indicators that she was interested, right? And like I said, I firmly believe that the whole thing was because she wanted to get asked out, so that later on she'd be like, all these guys keep asking me out, but I have a boyfriend, right? Just to kind of boost her ego. And so anyways, we as managers, if our employees are seeing us in a manner that we don't want, that's not the image that we want, then there's obviously something that we are communicating, verbally or non-verbally, that is giving credence to that image. And so it's going to require a lot of self-reflection. Sometimes even some outside help will be necessary to try to identify what it is. But once we can identify it, then we can fix it. Thank you so much.